Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to my first official album review. I've been wanting to make this channel for a long time. I really love music. I listen to it all the time, and I've always wanted to share my opinion and talk about it. And I figured, what better time than when one of my personal favorite artists releases his new album? And of course, I'm talking about Deadbeat by Tame Impala. Tame Impala has been one of my favorite artists since I first listened to Currents back in 2015. I listened to that album in particular, the songs that everyone knows. The less I know, the better. New person, same old mistakes. And really, ever since then, I've been hooked. I was hooked on Tame Impala's music, and really, in my opinion, he's an artist that doesn't really miss. Um, Before Deadbeat, he had released four albums: Inner Speaker, Lonerism, Currents, and then The Slow Rush in 2020. And all of those albums I love, man. I love every single one of them. Um, my personal favorite is The Slow Rush. I know most people love Currents, and trust me, I do too. Currents is absolutely amazing, but The Slow Rush is, I love that album so fucking much, man. Like, that album means the world to me. I have so many special memories tied to that album. And so that's my personal favorite in terms of Tame Impala albums. But really, man, he's just one of those artists that doesn't miss. His core albums are always great, but also anytime he does features or anything, his features with Justice, his features with Thundercat, anytime Tame Impala hops on a track, it's going to be great. And so obviously, waiting 5 years for a new album, it's been a hard wait, but also he's one of those artists that I'm always going to be patient with. Release music when you feel it's ready because it's going to be great. And so obviously I was really excited about a new Tame Impala album, and it's here. After 5 long years, we finally have a new Tame Impala album, and I definitely have some mixed thoughts on it. In terms of, I guess, just my overall feelings on it, it is by no means a bad album. I've seen some people say that, but I think a lot of it is he's one of those artists that people have high expectations for, just like I do. And so overall, definitely not a bad album by any means. He first teased this album a few months ago by releasing End of Summer, which was the lead off single. He then followed that up with releasing Loser, and then more recently releasing Dracula, which Dracula is like the big hit from this album. And, Tame Impala, or AKA Kevin Parker, which is his actual name, he's a hit maker. If there's one thing you've come to realize about this dude, um, he's one of the best in terms of writing hits. I mean, he's really good at it, and so I was never really, I had no fear about if he was going to have a big single off this album. It's Time Impala. Of course, there's going to be a big single, and Dracula was the biggest. But Loser is also an amazing single. Um, but he was definitely inspired by house music and things like that on this album, and I think sometimes it comes across really good, but then there's other times where it doesn't. Um, and there's still songs on this album that I don't feel like I've made my mind up on fully. One of the songs being, like Ethereal Connection, for instance, where I like it, but I don't. And I think there's a few songs on this album that I'm like, I mean, personally, I think this album, for me and for many other people, I think it will grow on us. And I think for me, I really do think it's going to grow on me, this album. Um, but in terms of just overall, it's a really good album. I do like it. It's a good album. That's a better way to say it. It's a good album. It's definitely not bad. I don't think it's possible for Tame Impala, or like I said, aka Kevin Parker. I don't think it's really possible for him to release a bad album, and this definitely is not a bad album. I think if people are saying it's bad, I think their expectations were probably just a little too high. But understandably, I understand why people would have high expectations because he's just so consistent. Um, but overall, I think most of the songs work for me on this album. There's definitely some that don't. Obviously, like I said, the singles are great. I really enjoyed the opener to the album. I think if I had one kind of nitpick, I hate that End of Summer is the closer. Um, in my opinion, an album no different than any other art form, a movie or a game or anything. You don't release your final like if there's a director, like Christopher Nolan or something, and his new movie Odyssey that's coming out, there's you don't release the final act or the final scene of your movie before it's come out. And I understand why he did it. I understand why he released End of Summer because it gave people a really good idea of what to expect on the new album. Um, so I think End of Summer really did that, and it kind of introduces people to the new sound he's going for on the album. And that's fine, but like, don't end your album with it because for me, that just like I'm a big when I'm listening to albums, the opener and the closer are huge for me. Like they're really important. And for me, End of Summer, a song that I heard 2 months ago being the closer to this album, it just kind of left me with a bitter taste in my mouth. Especially like one of the things I love so much about the Slow Rush is the opener and closer and how it fits so well into that album's theme. The opener being one more year and then the closer being one more hour. And how beautiful one more hour is. Like it's such a beautiful closing to that album. And I just really hate like and again, End of Summer is a really good song. It's not a bad song. But I just hate that it's the closer. I hate that a song I heard 2 months ago is the closer to the album. But there was definitely surprises. Afterthought, that was like an amazing song, and that actually comes before End of Summer. So, uh, but yeah, man, it's a good album. I think if I had to, I think the score I'm at with it is a 7.5. I think that it's just I don't know where it ranks, in terms of Tame Impala albums, just because, like I said, I feel so strongly about all of them. But it's a good album, man. It's a good album. But at the moment, I don't have any more to say about it, and I don't anticipate my score going up. Although I do think it will be one of those albums that just it grows on people, and it is new, and he's not an artist that releases albums every year, so like this album is going to be with us for a while, and I think a lot of people just would need time for it to grow on them. But other than that, um, that's my thoughts on Deadbeat by Tame Impala. It's a good album. It's a 7.5 out of 10. It's enjoyable, but ultimately I didn't get anything else out of it other than that.